Hey everyone, it's me, Angus Bartholomew, with the Two Birds Stoned, and this is This Week in Comics. Hey everyone, it's Angus Bartholomew with the Two Birds Stoned. It's This Week in Comics, June 21st, 2023. We've got a couple number ones to check in on, an annual to check in on, some Spider-Verse to check in on. Let's go. Alrighty, our first number one this week is The Incredible Hulk number one by Philip Kennedy Johnson, Nick Klein, and Matthew Wilson. This issue kicks off the Age of Monsters storyline. And in a classic Hulk maneuver, Banner and the Hulk are not getting along whatsoever. And on top of that, the Mother of Horrors, the Mother of Horrors, has declared that the Fractured Son, aka Banner / Hulk, is public enemy number one. The green door's closed, people. The art, 8 out of 10. It's bold, it's dynamic, and for lack of a better term, it's pretty hulking. The story is also an 8 out of 10. It's simple, it's intriguing, it's horror driven, so it's a little bit scary. The Incredible Hulk number one, 8 out of 10, definitely pull this week. Next up, we have Ultimate Invasion number one by Jonathan Hickman, Brian Hitch, Andrew Curry, and Alex Sinclair. Now, the main premise of the story is the Maker gets loose in the 616, aka the main Marvel Universe. His goal, while not entirely clear to the Avengers or the X-Men or anyone, is to restart the universe from which he came, the Ultimate Universe. He even offers our greatest ultimate hero, Miles Morales, a chance to go back with him. But Miles does not accept. Miles isn't okay being in the 616. Ultimately, the Maker does recreate the Ultimate Universe. However, as it's about to begin, just as it did in the comic books, the Maker steps in and prevents our boy Peter Parker from becoming the Spider-Man. It makes you wonder, what is the Maker planning? For those of you that grew up or possibly read all of the Ultimate Universe, this probably has a million Easter eggs for you. But if you're like me, and the only part of the Ultimate Universe you really know is Miles Morales and the Maker, then some of it's a little confusing, but it's overall not a bad comic. The art in this issue is an 8 out of 10. It is both clean and grand in scale. The story is a 7.5 out of 10. There are a lot of time jumps, but it's necessary, otherwise we would have dwelled a lot on the Maker's plans. Overall, I would give Ultimate Invasion number one by Jonathan Hickman, Brian Hitch, Andrew Curry, and Alex Sinclair a 7.75 out of 10, at least based on the art and the story. But if we're gonna touch on the $8.99 asking price by Marvel for this comic, the answer is you can go boop yourself. Ultimate Invasion number one, 7.75 out of 10. It's a pull if you have the money. Alrighty, we have Wonder Woman number 800 by too many writers and too many artists to name. Why? Because the first part of issue number 800 is one creative team's goodbye to the character in all of the adventures that they've had with her. And for that first part, I would give it a 7 out of 10. The artwork is gorgeous, and it's a celebratory story where that team is touching on all the things that was important to them with the Wonder Woman. The second part, titled Trinity, written by our boy Tom King, I would give an 8.5 out of 10. We're getting to see the new Trinity. Jonathan Kent, Damian Wayne as Batman, and Elizabeth Prince as Wonder Woman, Lizzie. The second half of the story is an 8.5 out of 10. It's intriguing, it's exciting, and I can't wait to see what Tom King's gonna do in his new number one. Wonder Woman number 800. Definitely check it out if you want to say goodbye to the stories you have been reading, or if you plan on jumping on the new book and continuing with new stories. It has a little bit for both. Scarlet Witch Annual number one by Steve Orlando, Carlos Nieto, and Triona Farrell. In this issue, Agatha Harkness visits. She battles Wanda and tricks her. Ultimately, she enters into Wanda's soul and kills Chthon and takes his heart. Agatha wants to make a new Darkhold. And in order to make a new Darkhold, she's gonna make heroes fight each other. This is the start of the Contest of Champions. The Contest of Champions will play out over various annuals all the way through the fall. However, I would give this issue a 6 out of 10. It's too long and a little too boring to get to the end game. Am I intrigued by the Contest of Champions? I guess we'll have to see when the Amazing Spider-Man Annual #1 comes out in August. Until then, if you're planning on jumping on at this point, wait for the next issue of Scarlet Witch. And if you want my opinion on the Contest of Champions, the answer is no. The Edge of Spider-Verse #3. Our first story is Spider-Boy in Nobody Knows Who You Are by Dan Slott, Humberto Ramos, Wayne Foucher, and Edgar Delgado. The first story, featuring Bailey Briggs' Spider-Boy, is an 8 out of 10. It's a sad and lonely story, but I would follow Bailey Briggs' adventures with Christina Zhu into its own series. A story about loneliness and not knowing your place, it's great. Our second story is Spider Smasher in Hermanita by David Betancourt, Julian Shaw, and Andrew Dahlhaus. In Spider Smasher, we're in a future where Miles Morales' clone, Salem, has killed him. And while Salem himself has died, the Kingpin is now trying to take over. Miles' little sister Billy wears high-tech gear and armor to be the Spider Smasher. I haven't read that much of Miles and his family and his trials and tribulations, but I really would read about his sister Billy, especially in a future that doesn't have Miles Morales. Overall, both stories are an 8 out of 10. Edge of Spider-Verse #3 had 2 stories that, if they were their own Spider books, I think I'd read. Edge of Spider-Verse #3, 8 out of 10. Alright guys, that's it for the #1s and the special issues. Let's check out what else we're reading. Hallows Eve #4. We'll check in with this series once it concludes with issue #5. Hellcat #4. We'll check in with this series once it reaches its conclusion at issue #5. The Vigil #2. We'll check in with this when it reaches its conclusion at issue 6. Dead Romans #4. We'll check in with this miniseries from Image when it concludes at issue #6. Now it's time to check in with some of our ongoing series. Guardians of the Galaxy #3. It's our first contact with Groot, and it's a funny, poignant, and somewhat melancholy adventure with the promise of Rocket Raccoon coming next issue. 8 out of 10 for Guardians #3. Titans #2. This issue slows down some from issue #1. It pivots what the actual mystery is and introduces a new villain and a new issue for the Titans, especially with Tempest. The slowdown results in a 7 out of 10, but overall, I'm curious where it's going. The Avengers #2. Here, Kang sends the Avengers on a mission to save 1,000 lives, but he himself nearly dies delivering the message. Whoa. Murden and the Twilight Court bested Kang. Tribulation events are coming. The King of Magic, the Death Moon, the Cannibal Culture, the Endless Night, and at the end of the issue, the Impossible City shows up. The first of the tribulation events is here while Carol is waiting for Kang to awaken, but the Avengers continues its successful streak with another 8 out of 10. That's it for our ongoing series, our mini-series, and our new #1s. However, we do need to get back to the issues for next week. Next week, for June 28th, we have Silk #2. We have Batman, the Brave and the Bold #2. We have City Boy #2. We have Green Arrow #3. We have Riddler Year 1 #5. We'll review that at the 6th issue, actually. We have Doom Patrol #4. We have 007 for King and Country #3. We have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin, The Lost Years #4. We have Local Man #5. We have Vanish 8. We've got World Tree, number 3. And we have Doc Afra, number 33. It doesn't appear like we have too many series ending or any number ones next week. So while I'm sure the waves will be crashing across the multiverse for us, it'll be a lot of little check-ins. If you enjoyed our reviews this week, please like, comment, subscribe. We are at the Two Bird Stone 815 on all the socials, the TikTok, the YouTube, anywhere you can find us. I am Angus Bartholomew with the Two Bird Stone. I am your unofficial, official guide to all things across the multiverses. We are at the Two Bird Stone 815. Support your local comic shops, especially Mega City 2 in Bakersfield. DJ, hit the music.